Is it okay to take direct aim on special needs children, call them retarded and their mother dumb and Well, that depends. Do you hate Sarah Palin? Okay, so the problem with the Palin dialogue is that people either want to destroy her or viciously attack those who don't adore her, and so I've avoided it. But recently the attack on Governor Palin's special needs son, Trig, have become increasingly insidious. By the way, that movie sucked. So I did write an in-depth column at foxnews.com/opinion, which I'd encourage you to read. See, Jack Stoof at Wonkette recently released a piece in which he made all kinds of distasteful and mean-spirited collages of Trig Palin while making fun of him for being retarded. In the same piece, they posted this old rant from Louis C.K., who had this to say about the former governor.
But when she was standing on that stage at the convention holding a baby that just came out of her disgusting her retard making and she held it up. I hate her more than anybody. And she held it up and said, "This is really hard raising this. Really, it's a baby to stick your in its mouth."
When I hear this kind of thing, I'm reminded of something Dennis Miller once said, that anything and everything is comedic fair game except for the helpless. Well, maybe you could tell us, do mentally disabled babies fall under the category of helpless? I wouldn't know, forgive me, I'm, shall I say, retarded, because I know you would. And see, as a comedian, this is my problem with comedy nowadays. It's very rarely about writing or insight anymore, but about a willingness to abandon human decency in order to shock people into giving you a paycheck. These comedians are like porn stars who now suddenly brag that they've made good business decisions.
We're entrepreneurs!
No, you're not, floozies! You're simply willing to disrobe and fornicate on camera, which most people are not willing to do because they have shame and or self-respect. Just like making fun of a mentally handicapped child.
Actually, I'm really smart.
No, you're not! And neither are the folks at Wonkette or CK.
Her baby is under 1 year old. It doesn't matter yet that it's retarded.
That's true.
It hasn't started to become an issue yet.
Oh, really? Well, thanks for letting us know, Mr. CK. And aside from the heart problems, intestinal disorders, eye problems, being prone to viruses and infections, and of course needing physical therapy often on account to a lack of muscle tone, his comments would be right on the money. And some parents of special needs children might actually say that there's an emotional component to all of this. Maybe there's some kind of stress bearing down on the parents who now have to think about the second that child is born, providing for that person until long after they're gone, because those people are entirely dependent on your existence for theirs. While we're on the subject, maybe it's stressful for that parent to have to explain to that child, should they outlive the parents, the concept of finality. These children often have the emotional capacity to miss their parents, but the inability to comprehend why they're not coming back. I'm sure there might be some challenges of self-blame when a child like this comes into the world, asking what maybe you could have done better, or if you've done anything wrong to deserve this. Yeah, I could see how that'd be challenging. Which makes it all the more amazing that Sarah Palin said she felt privileged to be entrusted with the blessing she has in her life. But what do I know? Maybe the geniuses at Wonkette have it all figured out and it's no big deal. I'm sure Louis C.K. is a better problem solver than most and man enough to face his problems head on rather than running away from them. Isn't that right, Mr. Divorced at 42, leaving your kids in the lurch? Heck, if we're leaving common decency at the door, I'm willing to bet that a lot of special needs parents would be willing to call you an head. But they probably wouldn't. Because they're just not quite as edgy as you guys, right, Jack? After all, what could be more groundbreaking than piling on the Palin family in 2011?
Actually, I'm really good at what I do because I'm willing to take risks.
Yeah, it's really true. We take a lot of risks.
I'm sure that's the case. You folks must really have a brass pair.
Mutual, I'm sure.
No, that doesn't work.